Howdy, y'all. Tex here again. Listen, let me talk at y'all for a minute. I've been missing in action because I was real busy working. Now I'm kind of sitting out here at the hospital parking lot. Wife has a surgery today, so be out here for a little while. I don't do that mask bullshit. I'm not falling for it. I prefer being able to breathe and see. So, just figured I'd check in with y'all, let y'all know that I'm still around. I hadn't stopped with the YouTube. I just haven't really been in a spot to do it. So, winter kind of kills me. The cold weather, stuff like that, I kind of get that. I like to have something it was called like SAD, like SADD. It was either seasonal anxiety and depressive disorder or seasonal anger and depressive disorder or something. But yeah, come wintertime, it's usually just nasty. It's cold, it's gray, and it puts me in a bad mood. I don't like being cold. I don't like, all that. I'm back in Texas now. It's cold this morning, but it'll warm up by this afternoon. So that'll be okay. Anyway, just figured I'd check in with y'all. And then I told y'all a car story, about that little old racing deal I did. But, and some other stuff. But I'm trying to think of some more stories to tell y'all. And I guess one of them, I'll just tell y'all one about a truck I used to have. So I had a 97 F-150. It had a, right there where they went from the box style to that rounded style in the Ford F-150s. And I had a 4.6 liter motor in it, but it was a high output motor, it turned out to be. It was the same one that they had put in the Mustangs, and that was in my truck. And that truck, I had it sitting on basically the equivalent of 33-inch tires. It was 285, 75, 16, which is like, in metrics, like 32.5-inch tires when you convert it. Anyway, I used to take that thing out in the mud and off-road it and everything else, and I even had it where I took it down a drag track one time, and I think I did like in a quarter mile. I think it did like 17 seconds at like 77.8, 77.9 mile an hour. Could not break 78 miles an hour for anything. The truck was fun. I had it modified as much as you could before you had to go in there and start flashing because it was computer at this time. In 97, OBD2 was well out and everything, and yeah, you had to reprogram the ECU. You'd have to put bigger injectors in it, so when you start reprogramming it and having to replace the internals and the injectors and everything, well, at that point that gets to cost a lot of money. And what I did with that truck is wound up selling it because the head gasket, I believe, had failed, and I was about to put a head gasket in. At this point, I'd already put a transmission in it, and I was tired of that. I'm like, well, I'm put a transmission in it, not a head gasket. And I thought, if I got to get deep enough in the motor where I've got to pull the heads off, then I may as well, build this thing to my specifications. Make it faster, everything like that. By the time I totaled it up, thinking in my head, well, if I put a camshaft in there, I send the ECU off to be flashed and reprogrammed and everything like that. I figured by the time I was done with it, I would have probably had 10 grand tied up in the motor. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I said I can get a diesel for that. So I sold the truck and bought a 85 F250 diesel with a 6.9 in it. And C4 automatic. I'd have rather had a manual, but it is what it is. The problem with that truck was it was a northern truck, had the rust in it, had fuel lines that leaked, and it just kind of really wasn't usable, and it was too much to put that thing back together. But boy, that 6.9 was actually a beast. Now, as far as diesels go, the 7.3 is the best one, and that's what I would love to have. But everybody knows they're the best one, and the stuff they put out ain't worth shit anymore. And especially now that they've got everything running on that DEF fluid after, you know, so it don't even pay to have a diesel anymore. But everybody knows what those 7.3s are worth because they were bulletproof motors. I had a 6.0 motor one time, 6.0 diesel, F250. It was a 2004, and nothing but problems. I knew it would be, but I had bought it from a supervisor at a construction company I worked for, and it was his truck, and the construction company paid for all the maintenance on it, but it's still, there was no helping it. It's still, I believe it was a high pressure, no, it was a low pressure oil pump. The odd thing about those 6.0 motors is that they have two different oil systems on there. They have a high pressure oil system and a low pressure oil system. So to run the diesel fuel injectors is actually run by a high pressure oil pump. And I believe it's either, maybe that's the low pressure and the high pressure is for the actual engine oil. Anyway, whatever it was, it's odd as hell. And basically my fuel injector pump, which is now an oil pump, is what failed on that truck, and just the part alone was almost $1,000. So there was no fixing it, and you can't work on the damn things, you know. You'd have to basically pull the body off of it to work on it. So anyway, y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later.